Hey everyone, Rachel here for your monthly energetic forecast. Um, and let's just get started. So I'm just going to tune in to what I'm being shown and what I'm being told. Then I'll pull some cards and we'll keep going. So the first thing my guides were showing me is that October brings more change, more movement. They also wanted me to sort of focus on relationships. During this month, how they're putting it, the cycle, so it's not just within the month of October, but this cycle, which feels a little bit shorter than the month. And it started before the month of October began. There's a focus on relationships and then shifting, changing, how we're relating to each other. Noticing what's not working. Can it be adjusted and fixed to reharmonize the relationship, to come into new understandings of relating? Sometimes that means separating, but more so what I see is sort of readjustment within your current relationships, reharmonizing within your current relationships. Not so much of like endings and separations, but it's sort of a part of our up leveling that we're all going through. And that's, obviously it's going to look different for every person. That's part of the energy we're currently in. Yeah, and this is not exclusive to our interpersonal relationships. This also includes like our relationship to the government, our relationship to politics, our relationship to health. It's sort of, how we are relating to people and things. It's shifting. So it's like the perspective's already shifted. It's the reharmonizing after we've had a different change in perspective, after we've already been looking at something differently or had sort of an epiphany or been clear on our observations and adjusting to those. They're also saying that it's sort of necessary to be a little patient right now through all that. I'm not sort of just like jump to conclusions or go into this sort of no, yes. But it's more nuanced than that. Part of this growth is for us to get into more nuance of relationship, more nuance of our politics, more nuance of, you know, um, decisions that are made individually, on a small scale and on a large scale. So it's what they're saying is to have patience and just be with it all, right? Be with the sort of uncomfortableness, be with sort of the questions and uncertainty, and allow yourself to sort of just be with it and work through it and not just sort of be like, absolutely no, absolutely yes, that sort of thing. But really being, yeah, patient and flexible is not even the right word, but it's sort of along those lines of um, just being open, just being open and seeing sort of what happens um, within yourself, within yourself during all of it. Yeah, people's consciousness it's still opening, expanding. I mean, this process is how they show it to me. It's going to continue in these waves into the beginning of the next year because it's setting us up for like this collective rebirth that I see happening in the springtime. So before that collective rebirth, we're each going to be going through these waves of energetic shifts, consciousness expanding more, up leveling more. And with the consciousness expanding, again, we have to sort of reharmonize our environment, our lives to those new ways of seeing and being and feeling. All right, so let me pick some cards. I'm going to pick First from this deck. This is from, it's called the True Love reading cards. True Love reading cards from Belinda Grace. She was one of my old mentors. She's now retired, but she's really wonderful and had a huge impact. So we'll start with this deck. Yin and yang. That's the balance. It's the reharmonizing. That's the polarity. Seeing things from a different view. So, think of it this way, like sort of being stuck in your frame of thinking, stuck in your perspective, stuck in your own belief system, that shifting and not, again, it not being so black and white, that you're starting to see, feel, recognize the nuances of a situation, the nuances of someone else's perspective, the nuances of why something is happening the way that it's happening. So that's what that card's about. And reharmonizing it all, reparenting ourselves. So with that, so the reparenting you can think of as like our inner child, right? It's our wounding. So some of the polarity we see, actually a lot of what we see, is coming from our own wounding, which sort of shapes how we view the world, which then shapes, what decisions we make. And so the reparenting, as we're sort of noticing more nuances, all right, and sort of reharmony, we're healing those bits of ourselves that were, very against something or very for something, and finding more temperance there. Finding more temperance there. I see that process like the rebalancing. So higher consciousness, reharmonize, rebalance. In that we're reparenting / healing ourselves, this wounding we all have. And then that happening again. I do see that happening for the next few months, right? That's not just a part of October, but again, that's going to be cycling in and out. The gardener. Okay, let me see what that's about. It's tending to the things we deeply care about. Nurturing the things and the people we deeply care about. So it's sort of getting back to basics, back to sort of essential things that you need in your life, and relationships being one of those things. We all need to relate to people. We also need to relate to the earth. All right, that's another relationship that we need to sort of focus on, acknowledge. But it's sort of getting back to basics and tending to the things we deeply care about, the things that nurture us. Yeah. Okay, I'm done with that one. The next deck I'm going to pull from is, oh gosh, Sophie. Oh, I think it's Gods, Goddesses, and Guides, or Guardians. That's what it is. Okay, let's see what comes through this deck. No more hiding. Let's see what they mean. Yeah. What they're saying is to keep standing up for your beliefs, keep speaking out, keep taking action. This speaks more to like our what's going on in our government, what's going on in politics, what's going on in like socio-political matters, all of that, with war, with the military, with all of it, to keep using your voice. Don't hide and think it's all just gonna work out. Because it's so, so, so important for us right now as a collective to speak up. Because if we don't speak up and we don't take action, we're going to fall back into old patterning of being ruled by, an individual, being overpowered by an individual or a small group of people. And we're in the process of breaking free from that right now. We're in the process of regaining collectively our freedom. We're in the process of collectively saying what's going to work, what's not going to work, what we're okay with, what we're not okay with. And there are some differences in that, right? Different people want different things, but what we're seeing on this global scale is people coming together about these sort of basic human rights, basic human needs. And that's part of the consciousness expanding within us collectively, is where things, maybe perhaps aren't that different than they were 20 years ago, but we've woken up and we can see them for what they are more clearly now. So it's super important that we keep doing that, using your voice, speaking up, taking action, and being patient. It's all working. But like anything that needs to anything that's been in power for a long time, or a system that's been in place for a long time, or sort of a philosophy that's existed for a long time, it takes not the same amount of time it's been around. But if you can think about sort of the energy it has that it's built, right? Like, or its roots that it's placed into the earth, or energetically, it takes time to break that down. And so the patience is required, not giving up is required, for us to change things in the way that we collectively want to. And that'll be slightly different from place to place, country to country. But what it's bringing in is new beginnings. So in regards to October, okay. Yeah, let me see what specifically for October. Yeah, I do see something happening in the US political system. There's going to be a change um, within leadership. Not a full on change, but there's going to be some issues that come up, things revealed, where things are going to have to be adjusted. They keep showing me JD Vance for entertainment purposes only. I'll put that up because this is about politics. I'll get that down. So I'll put that up for the censors. But they keep showing me him sort of stepping up more and taking more of a leadership role. And that might be due to health issues slash, it feels health related. But also political tension rising, right? So we're not at the precipice of the tension yet, where things just like have to change dramatically yet. But we're getting closer to that. We're getting closer to that. So I do see some shifts there. I do see shifts with, the conflict that's taking place in Gaza, where the Israeli government having to tamper things down. They have to, because no one's putting up with it anymore. And what I see eventually happening is, the people sort of responsible being held accountable, for the region being put under sort of the watch, of different people. and to rebuild in a way that's more sustainable for everyone that lives there. Yeah, to try to bring some harmony and peace in there. So that part of that's going to be happening. I'll say at least part of it's going to be happening in October because, timelines change all the time. Right. And especially with something as big as that, there's so many different moving parts. So some of that's going to start to happen in October where it has to, it's like, yeah, the direction it's going into, there's nothing left there, so it has to shift, and no one's helping them continue in the way things are going. Joy. This is about making sure you allow yourself to experience that and not to get consumed by all the different things that are taking place, because there's so much. How they're putting it is find a few things that you feel really passionate about and sort of, you can tune into that, focus on that, but not everything. It's too much for your system. It'll be overwhelming, and it'll be hard for you to sort of come back to your sense of joy. And it's another important emotion to experience during this time, because it's the fuel that's the fuel that keeps us going. That's the fuel that keeps us discovering more light and more trust and more belief and more connection, as opposed to feeling defeated, as opposed to feeling there's no hope, as opposed to feeling like there's no one to trust, right? Like everything's a conspiracy, or everything is like, out to get us or destroy us. So it's important to keep feeling the sense of joy, the sense of life, the sense of possibility, all of that. Okay, one more from this deck. And emotional healing. That's like the inner child work. If you can allow yourself to experience more joy, it's going to help heal in this way, because what's happening in the collective right now on Earth, it's not foreign to us. Everyone's the soul that's here right now, has been through sort of an upheaval like this before. A time of uncertainty, a time of, which way is the pendulum going to swing? And so, we can, again, relive like fear. We can relive, lean into anger, lean into trying to control, lean into, fighting in really nasty ways. And that's sort of, again, reliving, not for all of us, but for some of us, things that have happened before in the past, that have created wounding, right? It's imprints in our energetic field. So staying within that sense of joy, allowing yourself to feel it and to find it, on a daily basis, helps to rewire your system into being more resilient during times like this. And that's really the key. Being more resilient during times like this, of uncertainty, of upheaval. So I'll do a few more cards. This is from my animal power deck. It's a big deck. So let's see what else comes in. Connect to higher wisdom. That's her higher consciousness. And if you have a meditation practice, I would encourage you, to do it. different practices are going to work better for different people. So it doesn't have to be any specific practice. You should do what resonates with you. But taking time, whether it's meditation or just like putting your feet up on the wall for 10 minutes, but where your nervous system can shift, your body can relax, where it becomes more receptive, all this stuff just starts to integrate, move, new information comes in, old information goes out, and it really can be that simple. When we meditate, we can become more conscious of it, or of some of these things, but it's not necessary for the process to take place. It's taking place regardless. Okay. I got two. Building with integrity, communicating clearly. Okay. We'll start with the building with integrity. This is not so much about the building, it's just living in integrity. Living in your truth, what you believe, not compromising to sort of fit in the moment, or to get money, or to get a promotion, but really staying true to who you are. So having integrity in all ways. And then communicate clearly. Yeah, those go hand in hand. So it's the same thing. It's an integrity of how you're expressing yourself. Is it your truth? Are you saying what you think people want you to say? Do you think it's going to get you something? If you express yourself a certain way. So much, about the shifting that's taking place is getting us back to our truth. So it's not just doing a job because it pays a bunch of money. Or it's not just investing in the stock market because it gets you a bunch of money. When you're investing in things you don't even believe in, or you don't support, just for the money. Or, another side of it is, working 12 hours a day and not getting compensated properly because you want to, please the people that are paying you, right? So coming back to your truth, listening to your truth is all going to help reshape society in a way that's actually sustainable, in a way that actually helps people, in a way where we all end up being more satisfied with life. All right. That's our October reading. I don't know how much of it's for October specifically, but I'm just I'm just listening to what I'm being told, because some of these things are again beyond October, but this is, I'll say, our message for October. So I hope it serves you well. Bye.